Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Here we go, Bill. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm okay.
Good.
Obviously, I'm better than I thought because you guys are all teasing me about the shirt I have on.
It's beautiful.
I have this flowery shirt on.
Yeah. I didn't get the memo. I would have worn mine.
There you go. Episode number 156. Startling Discover, Peter. Startling Discover. Money kills real estate profits.
Wait a minute. That doesn't even make sense. Money kills real estate profits. What?
After doing hundreds of deals on my own and hundreds of deals with my clients, I've discovered money kills real estate profits. It gets worse, Peter, because it also very often kills real estate deals. Yeah.
You said that.
In this podcast, we're going to cover why having money almost always causes deal after deal to fail. The major flaw in 99% of most novice investors is believing that the money is the major factor in building a profitable real estate empire and thinking your money and your wealth is the best advantage in this industry and is the single most violated rule of acquiring real estate for money now, money monthly, and money later. And in this episode, I plan to fully disclose my startling research that has helped me discover these tested and proven scientific facts about why money kills real estate profits.
Well, Bill, I'm startled, but then completely relieved.
Why?
Because when I started, I didn't have all that money to make that big mistake, so I guess I'm in the right place.
Well, this kind of branches off of what you say all the time, like
what?
About money and real estate.
What?
Like we're in it to make money.
Yeah.
You know how do you do that? It's like,
if we had money, we wouldn't be so worried about making money. We're here because we don't have money. We're trying to, why do you get a job?
Right.
Because you have too much money.
Right.
Why do you rob a bank? Because you're rich. You want money. So, you have to work to make money.
Right.
Usually you start with nothing. I've seen, stories. We've all heard them. Guy walks in the middle of a field. There's nothing there. And then he finds something and he makes something. And, you can stumble on like an orange grove or orange trees and pick some oranges, go to town and sell them. You have to start someplace, but it's usually from nothing.
Right. Folks, we have found where Peter stands.
In a field.
He's associated robbing banks with flipping houses. We have gone behind Peter's forehead and found out what's back there.
Oh, you didn't realize that I'm outstanding in a field?
All right. So the first thing I want to discover today, the first thing I want to discuss today, I don't know why I said discover. The first thing I want to discuss today is something that is kind of cool, but it's kind of cool to me. So I hope you and the listeners get it as cool because you know how I am about words.
Yeah.
I like my words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I want to talk about creative real estate investor. Okay. So I looked up the word creative in the dictionary, and here's what I found.
I don't think I've ever really tracked that one down. Now you got my curiosity. Go. What'd you get?
Here's what I found. So one definition, because there was 4, and it's along the idea of like an artist type of a thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. So its definition is stimulating the imagination and inventing. I'll give it to you again. Stimulating the imagination and inventive powers. Stimulating the imagination and inventive powers.
I like the last 2 words best. Inventive powers.
Right.
There is power in inventing.
And interestingly enough, when you look up the derivation, which is not creative. The derivation is of create, because the word
the
is
base
derived
word.
from create, right? Interestingly enough, that create means to grow or cause to grow.
You know, I've never looked that up. I really had no idea of the derivation. I know a lot of them. That to cause to grow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's a good one.
So a creative real estate investor is causing growth. Now, it could be growth in an environment, or it could be growth for his wealth, or it could be growth for his family, but he's causing growth through real estate.
Yeah.
So it's growth through real estate. Right?
I like that.
I mean, that's what I got out of it when I looked it up, and that's how I kind of came about this theory of mine. Right? So this caused me to think of the best definition for a creative real estate investor, which is my own.
Yeah.
So it's not anywhere I read. This is from Bill's Planet. So that means that a good definition is a truly talented creative investor is one who can get deals with the least amount of money. And we had talked about this the last couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
So a truly talented creative real estate investor is one who can get deals with the least amount of money, right? Now think about this. So I just have attention on that the screen is black, M. Are we okay? The screen is black. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. It's all of a sudden I looked up. We got TVs and stuff all around us, and there's a black screen there, so I'm wondering what's going on. All right, let's get back to the show. Sorry about that. So think about this, Peter.
Yeah.
This is like really down and dirty. So I'm going to go right to the heart of what we always talk about, and this is like laser sharp. Okay? There's a lot of things you can't do when you're broke and have crappy credit. Yep. There's a lot of things that you're held back from. There's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of things you can't do when you're broke and have crappy credit. Agreed?
You can't even stand on the corner. Somebody will tell you, move along, boy.
I mean, seriously,
it's true though.
You can't have certain types of food. You can't. There's just a lot of things. You can't have credit cards. You can't have nice furniture. You can't have, basic things. You can't even have nice clothes. If you're broke and have crappy credit, there's a lot of things you can't have.
Yeah.
Right. But believe it or not, real estate is one of those things that you can do while you're broke and without credit. It is one thing that you can do.
Which is absolutely bizarre because you think of real estate as being one of the biggest things. Oh, a house is the biggest investment you're going to make. All that kind of stuff. And you see big, big buildings. And how would you buy that? Without lots of money.
Right.
And that you're saying that the complete opposite.
Right.
The less you have, you could still do it.
Right. And Pete, to be honest, I'm actually glad about this. This is something new in my world. You've not heard me say this before. I'm actually glad most people don't understand this because if they did, millions of amateurs would be clogging up our deals.
Oh, no, they'd be making a mess.
I mean, I don't mind sharing it with my listeners because at least they're getting educated. But what about the guys that don't know this? Right? They think they need to have money. The Wall Street guys.
Yep.
They screw up deals. And I'm going to go over that in a couple minutes.
Serves them right, though, huh?
Yeah, this is much like the bidding wars on the REO, the real estate owned properties on the MLS, the bank owned properties. REO means real estate owned. That means that the bank foreclosed on the property. Right?
Right. The bank, so it's real estate owned by the bank.
They went through the foreclosure proceeding, and now they own it.
Yep.
AKA, they don't own the mortgage anymore. They own the house. Right? So it's before they own the mortgage, not the house. Once they've gone through the foreclosure proceeding, they now own the house.
Right. The mortgage was attached to the house, right?
Which means the property is real estate owned for the bank.
Yep.
Right? Make sense?
Yeah, I went to a car auction one time, and it was terrible because people, there's so many people there. They were just, buyers, not wholesalers, and they paid full price.
Right.
So wholesalers don't go there, and they pay full price, and they go, oh, I got it. Well, I got the car I wanted, I guess.
Well, they're in a mindset that they think they're getting a deal.
Yeah.
So they don't.
But
and we're going to talk about that in a
They
minute.
keep upselling them to each other, though,
exactly,
like the 15, end buyers.
Right. So, like I said, these, much like these buyers are bidding against one another, these bidding wars like you're talking about, those investors have not realized they need a motivated seller, not a vacant house.
Mm.
And I've teased about this in many of my seminars and other podcasts, and I only know this because in all of the hundreds and hundreds of deals that I've been either involved in or have been to the closings, I've never, ever once ever seen the house or the property there signing the documents.
The house. They don't even bring a picture.
Right. Sometimes they don't even bring a key.
That's right. Like, he goes, hey, where's the key? Does your realtor have it?
Yeah.
No, does mine have it? I took it home last night. It's mine. Like, how am I going to get in? I'll meet you at McDonald's.
Yeah. Or I got to tell you one thing. I got to tell you one thing that irritates the crap out of me, and don't ask me why, because it's like $30 at Home Depot or Amazon, right? But it's when they steal my damn lockbox because of laziness, because they won't go. Because see, here's the problem: when you sell a house, the way we're talking about right now, conventionally, they have to do the walkthrough like 3.5 seconds before they go to the closing.
Sure, make sure something didn't happen.
God forbid, I'm an investor and I might be like pulling one over on them. You know what I mean?
They took the furnace back.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the siding?
I went and repainted all the walls so that I could make it my color. I mean, whatever. It's like
they took the shed.
I didn't cut the grass. I had that one time.
Really?
Cut the grass. Yeah, I had to give somebody $35 to cut the grass.
Oh my God! How cheap can you get?
Yeah. So anyways, when they go, so the problem is I can't go get the lockbox until they do their walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they do the walkthrough, they usually go right to the closing. And once they do the closing, I no longer own the house, so I can't get the lockbox.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this weird gray area. Like,
I never get
when
that
do
straight.
I get my lockbox?
I never get that straight. Like,
Yeah.
I take it, then I drive to the attorney, give him the key. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I know it's a weird thing.
And you would think after all the real estate that's been passed around that there would be a system, right?
There's
but
not.
there's not.
There's not.
Yeah, you wing it.
Mm-hmm.
So amateurs think because a house is vacant, right, that it must have a motivated seller buried in there somewhere, right? And that's just like the furthest thing from the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a quick example. So my sister lived here in Wallingford, Connecticut. She now lives in Florida, but she lived here in Wallingford, Connecticut, not far from here, where we live, or where I live. And she bought this house, which is a whole story in itself. I should tell you that story someday because she ended up going into a strict foreclosure twice, and I pulled her out both times. By the time we got all done with that house, over the course of a couple of years, I actually she was in strict foreclosure twice. Did a modification twice. Defaulted twice.
Yipes.
And I managed to get the bank to do a short sale and give her $35,000 when they closed.
And give her money?
They gave her $35,000 at the closing.
Now, I know they do short sales. I never heard that they would give you money back.
I got them to take less money.
Huh?
I mean, they took like $90,000 less money, and she got $35,000 in money.
That's a good trick.
And that's just bragging at this point because that was amazing. That was just.
I didn't know you could do that. I thought you're lucky just to get out of the house.
No, it's just
wow.
It's knowing the system and knowing what to say.
Jeez.
Right. But the point that I'm trying to make is next door to her. So she lived like there was a little stream that was like to the right of her house when you looked at the house. The other side of the stream, there was a vacant house there.
Mm-hmm.
And that house had been vacant. Well, she lived there for 5 years and it was vacant the whole time.
Jeez. Just soaking up holding costs.
And somebody would come there and cut the grass. And there were actually cats in the house and they would feed the cats. for 5 years.
You know.
So I go digging into it and come to find out there was a family that lived there, and there was a daughter who was probably in her 30s at the time that I think was a little bit mentally challenged. And I'm not saying that. That's like what I was told by the town officials. Okay.
Well, it happens.
There was something not right there, like maybe a bit autistic or something like that. Nothing derogatory. I don't mean that at all. Mom and Dad had 5 houses in Wallingford, and every one of them were vacant. And it was it was her full-time job. She would go around and take care of these houses.
Oh, she would. And
it was sentimental value to her, but she wasn't paying the taxes. And it had gotten to a point where she hadn't paid the taxes, 4 or 5 years down the road, and they were foreclosing on the properties, which is how I kind of, after a year's worth of research, which not like every week I did it, but following the house, I realized that the houses were vacant. And that's when I came up with this thing, like, because of that situation, it's like not every vacant house has a motivated seller.
Yeah.
Right? In that particular incident, right? That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
Right?
And you can't always ask why, because they just something's going on.
Right.
You may never find out. You found out, at least in that case, but
right.
It's a weird, wacky world.
All right, so let's get back to doing deals without money.
Yep.
Okay, so before I do that, I want to say something that is extremely profound, but you won't know it until you've done lots of deals. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So please heed my words and my experience now. I mean, I'm begging you to take, because I wish somebody told this to me 15 years ago.
Yeah.
More importantly, if I did hear it, which I'm sure I didn't, but if I did hear it, I'm not sure I would have been willing to make it like a career changer. I wouldn't have known the importance of it so early in my career.
Yeah.
It's like some discoveries just kind of fall in your lap the more you do, the more you research, the more you deal with people, and the more you do whatever it is that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the simple things just fall in your lap, and you wish you knew them in the beginning. And this is one of those things I wish I knew in the beginning.
And you're saying you wouldn't realize the importance for a while.
Yeah, so I'm begging you to please take this not lightly. Don't discard it like, oh, I know that, or I've heard that, or whatever. Just realize that if you shift your universe to this way of thinking, you will excel quicker.
Yeah.
Okay? And that datum is, if you can't do deals and make money without money in real estate, you can't make money with money in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say that if you can't do deals and make money without money in real estate, you will never make money when you have money in real estate.
Yeah, I've actually, because you pointed me in the right direction, have run into that. And it does make sense. Because you can have somebody with money say, oh, let's buy it. And, if you're not worried about the money, you said it, if you have the checkbook,
right,
you could write checks. Next thing you know, you're breaking even, or you went too far.
Right.
I mean, I overpaid on a deal because I wanted a deal.
Right.
It was good because I learned so much. And I learned that I can renovate. Yeah, great.
Right.
And it was worth a couple of grand just to figure that out. But it wasn't really right. I was just throwing a little bit too much money at it.
And what did I tell you when we first started that deal?
Pretty much. Well, you told me the right.
Too much.
Yeah.
By 10 grand.
Yeah.
And in the end, it cost us money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But you didn't believe that at first.
No, obviously not. I wouldn't have done it because actually, the mistake I actually made. And here's a lesson, folks. Just to digress a second. Do not make the decision on the phone in the house before you get there. You go, oh, it's only, and then we can do this, we can do that. Like, okay, great. And you get there, like, and you try to make it fit your idea in your own head.
Right.
And it takes some real honesty to not do that. Right. But also just plain violated some formulas that you gave me to do.
Right.
But you let me.
Yeah.
You let me.
It was worth it.
Yeah, it was.
Because I couldn't have taught that to you any other way.
No. And the strategy that actually saved the day was, let's do 2 deals.
Right.
Or as many as we can get our hands on. And then if one doesn't work out, the other 1 or 2 or 3 totally make up for it. So we wound up with $40,000 at the end of the 2 houses anyway. So it wasn't like, oh man, out of my pocket, because you have 2 or 3 or 4. Right. So, but you're right. You have money. You could spend it and not
money.
Yeah.
You had the ability to just not have another set of eyes go on the deal because you could just write a check, or you had the capability, had the money to do it.
Yeah, it's not like I was rich, but I had credit lines, I have stuff. Like, let's do it.
Right.
And yeah, in the end, it was worth it. I don't regret it, but like the lesson I learned was follow the formulas. Just move on, do more deals, get better deals, and go from there. So I won't make that mistake again.
Right.
So
to be blunt,
it's true.
To be blunt,
yes,
you will be fat and lazy when you have money. That's the way it is. You'll make mistakes. You won't do your research, which is the big thing. You won't do your homework.
Yeah.
And you'll and listen to this. Now listen to this.
The last one was really good. Don't do the homework part. That was good.
Okay, so listen to what I'm going to say here, because it's what you're saying, but I'm going to articulate it very finely. Okay? You won't do your research. You'll make decisions based on biased opinions instead of actual stats and facts.
Sure.
You'll make decisions based on biased opinions, yours, and like whoever will like give you opinions that align with what you want to do, right? Instead of actual stats and facts.
Right.
Right.
Sure. Everything from, oh, we should sell for such and such.
Right.
Oh, it should only cost this much to renovate.
Right.
Oh, the guy says who's selling it, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Or the realtor, all kinds of things can enter in.
And later on, we found out that the wholesaler made $20,000 off of us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Good for him. So there's another lesson there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bottom line is that's not good. I promise that's not good. Okay. So here's what I suggest you do when you first start out, so you learn as much as possible. Okay. Because the point that I'm trying to make here is that money kills real estate profits. So in that particular case, what happened? In your house, what happened?
Lost a few $1,000s.
Yeah, so your money.
But worse though, at the end, we were trying to do as much as we can, scraping ourselves to get it done without paying more.
Right.
I was doing some work and etc., mowing the lawn.
Yeah, we rented a machine and fixed the foundation problem, right? So we spent a whole day out there digging up a foundation and tarring it. And
yeah, if you want to see a picture of Bill smoking his cigar
on a tractor,
working the backhoe while Pete's in the pit with the shovel and the other guy shoveling at the bottom.
Send us a support ticket. We'll send you a picture.
For $9.95.
Oh no fee, no.
Come on, it's worth.
We should have Emma.
Bill, we got to get some money back on that deal still.
Yeah, exactly.
See, if we were smart, we would have sold tickets of how not to do a deal or something like that.
So that's exactly a raw example of how having money kills deals and kills profits, right? Because it just you get outside of your head and you're not thinking right. You know what I mean? Or outside of, I shouldn't say outside of your head, but you get inside of your head is actually what happens.
Yeah, you're really inside thinking. Yeah, like, right? See?
Which I never understood anyways.
What?
Thinking. It's like, it's a cool thing. It's like you're considered elite if you can think. But in my mind, what I believe is the only things that you hang on to, right? The only things that you hang on to in your history are the things that were not so successful, right? No. So if you had a bad, like you fell off your bicycle and scraped your knee or did something, you as a person or a being, right, a human being, had the ability to drive a bicycle, and you fell off. So inherently, you know that you did something wrong.
Yep.
So now you hang on to that thought, like, I did something wrong. I wonder what it was. And you don't know what it is because it's skewered by all the environmental issues, like, oh, the road was wet, or the car cut me off, or you easily don't investigate what really happened, because you're responsible for everything in your world, in your universe. You're responsible for it. Even if a tornado comes by and knocks your house down, you're still responsible because you have a house there, and in the middle of a tornado, you should have known a tornado was coming.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a little harsh, but it is true.
Well, no one else is going to fix it for it. You got a possible chance of paying attention and doing something. No one else is going to come along and take care of it for you.
So your memory that is restimulated when you think,
should I ride a bike today?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Are bikes good or bikes bad? And when you're thinking, you're tapping into that unsuccessful actions that you remembered, because the good stuff you don't always remember. You have to actually, when you think about good stuff, you have to like actually reincarnate or mock it up in your mind.
Yeah,
it's not just readily available for you.
Well, you don't need to pay attention to that. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to analyze. There's nothing to like next time I better. Right. So it's like, yay, the end.
But the bad stuff is always there to guide you. It's like always there, like, oh no, and you don't even know it. It's like this is what they call your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
It's like you're hypnotic. A lot of people are hypnotic to their subconscious mind. So when I hear a person say, I need to think about it, they're going to tap into their subconscious mind that they're hypnotic to.
Yeah.
And they're going to make a current decision based on the bad experiences that they already had.
But they're thinking they're scanning all the possibles, what they should or shouldn't do, not realizing that some negative feelings probably enter in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And they're going to make a decision based on their experience. Now, they could say bicycles are bad, but you and I both know I didn't have any problems with bicycles, right? Or dogs are bad because a dog bit me when I was 10 years old and I had to go to the doctors or the emergency room. You know, it's like it wasn't anything to do with dogs. It had to do with my ability to handle that situation when a dog bit me, right? Because your mind is there to protect you and solve problems. The reason why you have a mind is to solve problems. And like we talked about in the past, you have a choice. Either give it problems to solve or it will find its own problems to solve.
Yeah.
Right?
It do.
So it's there to protect you because it's going to tell you, oh, remember the last time we rode bicycles? Remember what happened? You know, we shouldn't do that again. And that's your subconscious mind.
Because you might really not remember enough details or that at all.
You just know that it gives you, and proof of that, and I'll get off this soapbox that I'm on. Proof of that is suppose you have to make a decision. You're like, I don't know why, but I just don't think I should do it.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know why.
My gut feeling is telling me, nah, I shouldn't do it. That's your subconscious mind working below your awareness level, and you don't even know it.
Right? You've heard other people's problems too, besides your own. But you know what's really sad about all this? And I'll get off my 2 cents too. The really sad thing to me about all this, you can ride your bike 1,000 times and be fine, and you screw up once.
Yep.
And which memory wins or which reaction wins, and the
later on,
the take it, in the future, and the takeaway from that is today when you're trying to make decisions and trying to be successful, don't let that stuff stop you. And I can say that, but that won't make that stop. Right. But believe me,
be in present time.
Yeah, if you remember one bad thing, try to remember 10 good things. Or if you just got a bad feeling, think of 10 reasons why you should do something if it's sensible.
Right.
And just jump, hold your breath, and jump. Tighten your belt and go for it.
Right. So you need to when you're learning how to do real estate, you need to learn as much as possible by doing it, not by learning it. Now, granted, there is some technology to buying houses. right? There is some standard way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
There is, which by the way is actually quite gross, because the standard way to do it is with a realtor, with a lawyer. We talk about that, I think in episode 90, the real estate mafia, right? We talk about how it's all rigged and how everybody's making fees and they're there for the wrong reason, right? So, that's a good way to do it, because there's a lot of people, Donald Trump being one of them, made a lot of money with real estate. So we think. I don't believe he's made all his money with real estate. I believe he made money with his name. Putting his name, because why would his name be on the top of every building? And that's because he gets royalties off of his name. And that's what got him the presidency, as far as I'm concerned.
That's interesting.
I think it was actually a joke. Not a joke. It was, I shouldn't say a joke. I actually think that he was running for president, because if you run for president as a nominee, your speaker fees will triple and quadruple, because now you have the status of, I was a president nominee. And he was, at the time prior to his running as president, was collecting about $110 or $100 million a year on royalties for his name. And that's where the vast majority of his income came from, I think.
So you might say this guy is really good at branding?
Yeah, so he was running for president to increase that number. And then people started listening to him, and I think he actually wasn't intending on being the president.
Well, on the other hand, I have seen videos, just for accuracy, I have seen videos, I don't know if you caught these, where he's had interviews on shows when he was really young and had concerns back then. He didn't like the way things were going, and thought maybe someday I could do that. And I don't know if he was doing it for that reason at that time, because that was a long time ago. But it's come up a few times, so it may be both worlds, but he's there.
So we're off on the profound poll, so let's get out of there. So here's a major shift for our listeners' universe. And when I mean universe, I mean your entire world. Okay, so here's a shift for your universe that, quite frankly, was the pivot point for me in my career. This was a huge pivot point for me when I figured this out. And I can't even say it was like a clear, like, Bill, do this. It's not even like I read a book. For some reason, I don't even know why, I just, like, one day, like, this epiphany arrived. And I'm like, holy crap, this is huge. And it was like going from first or second gear to like 10th gear. All of a sudden, I just, like, took off. Once I saw this in my own mind, okay, because I wasn't using the past experiences we're talking about. I was just kind of like in a place at the time where I was just able to just be where I was, observe, because I believe that's true intelligence, is the ability to observe. It has nothing to do with thinking. It has everything to do with the ability to observe and calculate your observations for the future. Yeah. That's, to me, is true intelligence, right?
Well, when you don't have a ton of experience, a ton of training, that's what you have.
Right.
You, in your own 2 feet, your own 2 eyes, looking at the situation in front of your face.
To kind of go off on another tangent here, but you had made a comment a few podcasts ago that, think about it. If you had to learn everything you needed to be successful through pure observation of your own eyes and of your own perception, you would not make it.
No.
Fortunately, we have
It just takes too long.
Fortunately, we have books, and we have people like myself that have been there before and can share our observations with you, and you can get them quicker. So because of books and the ability to have words, and that's why Sean Cloudon's book, The Power of Words, is so important, because you have to understand the concepts, and if you misunderstand a word, right, you could like
quit.
You could get the wrong impression of the viewpoint that the author's trying to give you, and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
You could go off on a tangent, don't even know it. So having these observations fed to you and understanding them, like what I'm telling you today. Some of the things I'm telling you today are observations after hundreds of deals.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand them, you don't get that they're as powerful as I'm telling you they are, you'll miss out. It'll take you years and years of your own observation to even come around to it, if you ever come around to it.
Yeah.
Right? So this pivot point hits me, and it's huge. And here it is. You can actually do deals when you have no money because you don't have to invest in every deal. You don't have to invest in every deal. The deals that we tend to invest in are the best deals. They're the most profitable deals. We don't invest in them to make them profitable. They're like for example, we're buying a house that's 27 cents on a dollar. There's plenty of room in this deal to go get private lenders, but we're investing in that in ourselves. And we're actually going out to talk to the guy because there's paperwork problems, and I think that we're probably going to bring that deal down to about 20 cents on a dollar. We're investing in that deal because it's the highest rate of return. The money is so safe that we don't have to worry about it. I mean, we could just wholesale that deal and make what most people make on flipping deals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just wholesaling it, just bringing it up to, 50 cents on a dollar.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 30%. So when we invest in those deals, they're just bigger, fatter deals.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think there's two ways to invest then. One is to invest money, and one is to invest your knowledge, creativity, and deal-making ability, your transactional analysis ability.
Right.
Because when you don't have money to invest, what do you got left? You
Right.
and your thoughts and your creativity. Invest that.
So let's take this a step further. Okay? So what I'm telling you is you don't have to invest in every deal you have. Now let's talk about multi-billionaires that do this. Okay? Let's talk about eBay. Right? eBay, billion-dollar company, or was, at least millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. They've been around for, 20 years? I don't know. I don't even know.
I didn't even notice when they started. I wasn't in the scene. But the next thing, there it
around
is.
Since the 90s, since the internet started. I mean, it was a big .com era, the eBay. Well, think of it this way: they didn't invest in the product, did they?
No, the products that you buy through eBay, no.
Right. Okay. How about Walmart? Do you think they buy all that product and put it on the shelves?
I thought they did.
No.
No?
No. Not a lot of it.
Well, what do? They get it on consignment or what?
The vendors give it to them for the right of having all those people show up to buy them.
Really?
There's a whole process. There are books written on how to become a Walmart vendor because you become a multimillionaire overnight.
If you can get your product on the shelf.
Right.
And you pay for it.
So what are they selling? Shelf space.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right?
Well,
how about Amazon?
Yeah.
Does Amazon own all its products?
Oh, no.
Okay. I mean, in the beginning, maybe some of the books, but not really.
No.
They have a
you can buy
publishing
everything
company.
on Amazon. It's not possible.
Right.
It's a vehicle. Do you know that? Here's a weird aside. You know that some of those concerts you go to, Lollapalooza and all those, the bands pay to play?
Yeah.
They don't get paid to play. They pay to play for the exposure.
Right.
What the hell?
How about Airbnb?
Uh-huh.
Do they own the real estate?
Mm-mm.
Right? How about Uber? Do they own the taxis or the cars? Right?
So you're saying there's something into being like a middleman facilitator of some type.
So that's where I'm going. So each of these billionaires did not have the product, but instead were the distribution conduit or distribution avenue for the guys that had the product. So the billionaires in today's world make their money on distribution. I mean, if you go back in the early 1900s, the real wealth was made in resources, like gold and oil,
products,
the trains, right? Rockefellers with the trains, right? It was raw resources,
stuff,
right? by the mid, in the 50s, the thing was about
Was it
making the product.
manufacturing?
Yeah, manufacturing, making the product.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technology got in there. So what used to cost, to make a dress used to cost $20, now costs $2 because technology came in there, right? And made a better dress for $2.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's so many players in the production industry because there's so many products available to us. Think about it.
Yeah. Any
industry you can think of, there's always something new because there's so many people in that industry. So what's starving? What's starving is these guys make these products and they don't have a distribution center.
Oh. Right. Now you have a lot of products. How are you going to move them?
So the billionaires in the early 2000s, right, are the distribution centers, the Amazons, the Airbnb, the Uber. They're taking the retailer and the
buyer
and the producer, the guy that makes the product, and connecting them for a small fee.
Yeah, times a billion.
Right. So you get it?
Well, it makes me wonder what's next, and can we get onto that if we can figure it out?
Yeah, exactly. So why can't you transform this into real estate? Right? Which is where a couple of emails ago I was talking about being a matchmaker.
Right.
Right? So this is the matchmaking type of transaction that will make anyone that understands it extremely wealthy. Right? All you need is three things. You need someone who wants to sell. You need a seller who wants to sell.
Mm-hmm.
2, you need someone who wants to buy or rent.
Mm-hmm. Or rent.
Right? Or number 3, someone who wants a better return on their money. Because sometimes you need money, so you're just looking for someone who wants a better return on your money. And even that has gotten simpler because often we'll find people who have retirement funds that can't use them and want them to build, and they can use that money to buy real estate if done correctly.
Yeah.
So basically they want their retirement account to grow or excel. So if it's getting 7% now, they want it to be 9% or 10% or whatever the number is. Right? With the most secured asset known to mankind, which is real estate.
Yeah.
Right? Now, when you're broke, right? Matchmaking someone that wants to sell a house with someone who wants to buy a house is an extraordinary way to make a living. It's extraordinary. Because you don't need much. Okay? So, well, let me just do, I don't know, I don't have a timer here, so I don't know how far in we are. 46. Okay, good. So there's a couple things I want to do here. I want to give you a couple of examples about this.
Right.
Okay, because I want to talk about our title. Okay, I want to give you it's not in my notes. I'm just going to do this because I forgot to write it down.
Okay.
Money kills real estate profits, right? The startling discovery. Now, you gave one example. It was a little bit vague, so let's get very specific because you didn't give numbers.
Oh, I don't give numbers on my mistakes.
Peter. All right, so
I have some pride.
let's say you had $20,000 available to you. Okay, maybe it's not your mom, and maybe it is. Maybe your mother says, "I got 20 grand. I'll get you started." Because quite frankly, a parent giving a kid 20 grand for an education is like squat.
That's cheap.
Because it costs, most colleges now are $30,000, $40,000 a year. Okay, most colleges. Okay, I'm not saying the community colleges, they're a lot cheaper, but most colleges.
And the rest of them are more expensive.
And pretty average student loans are between $60,000 and $100,000 by the time they're done. Those are student loans, okay, which most people have to get well into their 40s before they're paid off.
My 38-year-old son, which just had a baby this Monday, my granddad again, will finish paying his loans off this year at 38.
So So 20 grand is not a lot of money. So I mean, it is a lot of money, but I don't, in this arena, it's not.
In perspective, no.
But just for mathematical process, let's just use 20 grand. So you got 20 grand to invest in real estate. Okay. And this is how it kills deals. So you take that 20 grand and you go buy one property because you're going to use 20% down. So you buy one property worth 100 grand.
Yep.
Okay.
Put your money down, get a loan from the bank.
Right. So you got $20,000. You took $20,000 and turned it into a $100,000 asset.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or you could take that same $20,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could put down $10,000 on an asset and buy two $100,000 houses. It's kind of like Monopoly.
Sure.
Right? So you could take that same $20,000 and put down 10 grand each on each $100,000 houses.
Yeah, two houses,
It's like
100,000.
buying two houses for 100 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you put down 10 grand, you buy a $100,000 house, you put down another 10 grand, so you took 20 grand and you bought $200,000 worth of assets.
Right.
Or you could buy four $100,000 assets and put down 5 grand.
But at this point, you're not using conventional mortgages and banks and all that, are you?
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Just do the mathematics. You could buy FHA mortgages at 5% down.
As long as you have that much credit, then let's say.
FHA mortgage doesn't need credit.
I mean, would they loan a person unlimited houses, though, at a certain point?
Yeah, at a certain point, they're going to stop.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So here we go, the part about thinking that we were talking about before. You're thinking about things that don't need to be thought about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So
I represent the listener, Bill.
yeah. So you buy 4 houses at 5 grand down.
Mm-hmm.
So the 20 grand now bought $400,000 worth of assets.
Right.
So what's the difference between the first deal, buying one house for $100,000 assets, $100,000 worth of assets, the second deal where you bought $200,000 worth of assets, and the third deal that bought $400,000 worth of assets?
The difference?
It's education.
Right.
It's viewpoint and education, and that's it. Now, let's step off of planet Earth and step onto planet Bill and take that 20 grand and not buy a house at all with it, but instead use it for marketing. And let's say, and this is completely way too much money because you don't need this nowadays. And back in the day, this is what I used to do. It used to cost me $1,000 a house. So I'd spend $1,000 of marketing money to buy a house.
To find one and then
Right.
buy. Yeah.
Okay. So let's just say you need $1,000, whether that's for the marketing or, you buy 3 deals and need no money down, and all of a sudden the 4th deal needs $3,000 consideration deposit.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
However it is. But it averages out to be $1,000 a house.
Right.
You buy 20 houses worth $100,000, and now all of a sudden you got $2 million.
Right.
It's the same 20 grand.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is the money blinded you because you're thinking too much about the money. And the first deal you bought for 20 grand down because you didn't get educated. You didn't listen to somebody like me that does it the other way. You think that the conventional way or the way you learned in school is the right way.
Well, what's funny
and
about
it is because the banker's running the school.
Yeah. But what's funny about that, people think they're doing it the normal way, so they're doing it must be the safe way and the respectable way, and I won't get in trouble because I'm doing what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But, I bought a property, no money down, didn't even make payments for the first 2 months, and the rent started making the payments, so it's true.
Right.
My first deal that I did myself was like, so it's there.
So here's the thing. When you, like we just talked about, when you find an extraordinary deal at a deep discount, that's where you put your money. So you need to be ready for that.
Sure.
In the interim, you do this matchmaking that I'm talking about, and you get experience. So all of a sudden what will happen is the people around you will start to get confidence in you because you're like doing all these deals. 4 or 5 deals a year or 2 deals a month or whatever. They start seeing that you're like experienced. They don't know how you're buying them. They don't know what's involved. They just see that you're getting these deals, right? And then miraculously, all the hidden money starts popping out. Like, you ever watch Caddyshack?
Oh, yeah.
The gopher that pops out of the golf course, right? He keeps popping out. That's how the money will be. It just keeps popping up because you're doing these deals.
Yeah.
Right? You're finding a seller that needs to sell. You're finding a buyer that needs to buy or rent. And you're putting them together.
Yeah, because they need some help. It's not just go conventionally sometimes. They just really need somebody who knows what you know to do it.
So let's clear the air right now before we end off, because we're not quite ready to end, but let's just clear the air, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm teaching right now, because that's what I'm doing, is preaching and teaching. What I'm talking about right now is not so unusual, because that's what a realtor does.
Mm-hmm.
They find a seller. They find a buyer or a renter, and they put them together.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between a realtor and us, the reason why a realtor only gets 6% of that or 5% of that deal, is because they have not learned about creative financing. They're doing it the fat and lazy way. Because they're going to the banker, they're going to the lawyer, and they're going to all the guys that are making fees to do it this way. The difference between me and a realtor is only one thing. It's called an option. And that means that I sign with my seller the option to buy. The seller is giving me the right to buy that property at a stated price for a stated amount of time. So if I sign an option agreement with you, that option agreement is going to say, yes, we agree that I'm going to give you $100,000 within the next 90 days. Now, does it mean you can sell to somebody else? Yes. Right?
Yeah, that's how the paperwork goes.
By me signing that document with you and giving you consideration, which means money, whether it's $1, $10, $100, by me giving you money to consummate that document or make that document legal, okay, it turns to legal tender now. Okay, making that document legal, I now have an equity share in your property. And because I have an equity share in that property, I don't need to worry about having a license to sell it. See, the realtor doesn't have an equity share in the property, so they need a license to sell it because they don't have the equity share in the property.
Right, and when it's all over, they just walk away. And when it's all over with us, we often stay and continue to make money.
And because their system is so rickety, because not everybody needs to sell their house just for money. And the realtor system only caters to that. There are a lot of people that would like to keep the money and not have the tax ramifications and not have all the problems that go. They just don't want to deal with the property anymore. They still want the money. So they're willing to finance you.
Yeah.
And they're willing to take monthly payments for their equity. And they want to stay in the deal. They just don't want some portion or some headache involved with the property. So if you come along and relieve them of that headache, right?
Yeah.
And they can continue to make money, they're all over it because the realtor can't offer that to them.
No.
That doesn't happen that way. And I'm not saying that this person is on every corner of every street corner of every city, but there are enough of them that if you do matchmaking, you will be able to solve those problems and help them with those things the realtor can't help them with. There's a whole industry here that is underground and people don't know of because the realtor and the attorneys and the closing agents and the insurance guys and the banker are trying to cover up, because if it was leaked out too much, they would not have an industry. We would affect their business. I mean, think about it. When somebody says they want to sell a house, what's the first thing they think of?
I must go get a realtor.
Or I have to sell it on my own.
Yep.
And they don't know how.
Yeah.
The only thing that appeals to them on selling it on their own is they could save the fees. So they think.
Right.
And they can't, because when they do, it doesn't work correctly because they're not going to use all the right tools. Okay? So I'm not knocking the real estate industry. I'm just saying that they're fat and lazy. They have money. They have the bankers on their side. They have the lawyers on their side. They have the closing agent, the insurance company. Everybody's on their side. Mm-hmm. So they get fat and lazy. They aren't going to be creative.
Well, there's a whole team there.
Right.
So all they have to do is their part. Right. Show up, do contracts, put on the MLS, kind of wait.
Now think of this.
Or help someone.
If you're creative like we're talking about, there's a multiple amount of advantages. One is you don't need credit and money. We've already talked about that. Another one is you could buy more deals because you won't run out of money. Mm-hmm. Another one is it doesn't matter what the economy swings are, good or bad. What we do, we just adjust the type of deal strategy we're using. So instead of doing a rehab retail deal, we might do a lease option deal. Because when things get bad, people are losing their houses. We have houses to be able to sell them. Right? And oh yeah, by the way, when it gets bad and they can't sell with a realtor, what do? We go buy those houses. Mm-hmm. If they're over leveraged, we buy those houses. Right?
Sure.
Any one of my 7 strategies, which you find at flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff. There's videos there. That's flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff. There's 7 or 8 videos that explains exactly what I'm talking about here, all the math and everything. Right? We could still do matchmaking. We could still do it because there's still sellers that want to sell and buyers that want to buy. It doesn't matter whether the economy is good or bad. Matter of fact, when the economy goes bad and people can't have it, they want it more. Right? If the bank's not lending, it'll give more people to our market.
Yeah. Well, the harder that gets, the easier our approach can be helpful to them. And, the old saw that more billionaires and millionaires are made during depressions because there's opportunities if they know what to do. Yeah.
More money's made during chaos.
Yeah, some people are running for cover, and some people are saying, well, what can I do to put things back together?
Right. So the point of today's podcast is being creative and learning how to do deals without money will make you more money when you have money. Because like I said, the 20 grand that we talked about can either buy you a $100,000 asset or $2 million worth of asset. It only comes down to your aggressiveness on how to do it. Getting educated, figuring out what to do, how to do it, and when. And you don't need a Yale education to do this. Honest to God, my free site and the podcast alone. I just had somebody email me yesterday. Again, I get this monthly, sometimes weekly, but monthly. He's telling me about how I was asking for reviews.
Yeah.
And you go look at my reviews, and there's multiple reviews in there where they're like, I bought a house from this podcast. In the reviews in iTunes.
There's people buying houses we don't even know about. Right. They don't tell us. It's big. We love to hear that.
So just from the information, go to my free stuff thing. Free stuff page that I just talked about, flippinghousesforrookies.com, free stuff. Just the information and the documents on that, people are buying houses.
It's crazy.
Right? Why? Because they were smart enough to realize that a creative real estate investor knows how to buy real estate with the least amount of money. Mm. And when you learn that, you open your mind up and get outside of your own head and learn how to do things that you didn't even know were possible. And none of it's illegal. None of it's late night scammy stuff. None of it. It's actually how real estate was bought and sold prior to the realtor, which has only been around since the 50s. They've only been organized since the 50s. They came on a little bit earlier than that, but they got organized in the 50s, 1950 to be honest, or 1949, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And they've been organized that long, and they made it so that most sellers think that they're the only place to go. It's a monopoly.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah, it is.
Because they don't know that there's other places. And the real truth is that us investors haven't gotten organized to make an association to let everybody know that we're here.
No, we're all.
We don't have storefronts.
No, we're all independent,
right?
And so people think this is different, but there could be more of us than them, for all I know.
And the truth is that we have been doing it this way a lot longer than they have.
Yeah.
We were the original pilgrims. with real estate. And it's not treated that way because it's a fad to go get a realtor and sell your house because people are fat and lazy and they won't go do their research and figure out what's the best way that I can get the most amount of money for this house. And when you come along, you can show that to them. A creative investor can do that. And it's just that simple.
Yep.
I mean, it's just not hard. So to end off, I'd like to say one more thing, and then we'll end off. So the trick, okay, is to also, so please, before I tell you the trick, please, don't underestimate the power of this simple statement that I'm about. It's another one of those simple statements. The trick to creating wealth in real estate, there is one trick. And if you get good at this one thing, everything else will follow. Talk to new people. Talk to new people who are selling houses. Get outside of your sphere of influence. If you know 20 people, make it your mission to know 100 or talk to 100. If you know 5 people, make it your goal to talk to 3 people today that you don't know. Right? My kids tease me all the time because wherever we go, guess what I do? I talk to people. Emma tells me that I'm spooky because I talk to kids. I love kids. She says, Dad, that's spooky. Creepy. Yeah, creepy. A wrong word. Creepy.
Yeah. When you're young, it's okay. The older you get, apparently the creepier it gets.
I know. I like to have a quick conversation with them. Their parents are standing right there. Everything's good. Kids are awesome. They're innocent. That's why they're awesome. They're innocent. There's not any kind of real deceit there. Like Emma telling me that it's creepy.
They haven't fallen off their bicycles often too many times yet.
Enough.
Yet, yeah.
So the trick to this, and it's sounds too simple. Just talk to enough new people. Figure out how you could talk to more new people. And it doesn't even have to be new people that are selling houses. Just talk to enough new people and tell them what you do.
Yeah. So when I go to the bank and I sell houses. Oh, really? Yeah, here's a card. Oh, thank you. They don't say, oh, what are you giving me a card for? They go, oh, thank you. They think you're giving them something. And it's true. They might be able to help a friend someday that's in trouble. They don't realize it, but that's just something. It's a communication from somebody.
If you're going to be a true matchmaker and help people that want to sell a house and help people that want to buy or rent a house, you need to get out there and talk to new people. Let everyone know that's what you are. Let them know you're a matchmaker. You're a real estate matchmaker.
And it sounds like a name, Bill. Real estate matchmaker.
Exactly.
LLC.
You're a real estate matchmaker. And that you put people together that can't sell a house and people that can't buy a house. Or people that, not even they can't sell a house. You're just another option for them. Another way for them to do it. Right? So, circling back around, my startling discovery is money kills real estate profits. Because if you have it, you won't get creative, you won't think outside of the box, and you'll try to solve problems of your seller that aren't necessarily wanting to be solved. And you think throwing money at it will solve the problem. And not every deal needs money. Not every deal is demanding money. Not every deal could be solved with a realtor. I mean, I can honestly say I've sat in thousands or done thousands of presentations. I lost track at 4,000. Almost one for one, every presentation I do, nose to nose, toe to toe, every offer that I've made, which is over 4,000 that I know of. Every offer is nose to nose, toe to toe, in their living room, in their kitchen. And almost one for one, I have to hear a story about how they don't like the realtor. And I'm telling you, it's because the realtor is not a bad person. It's the system can't solve every problem. And we come along and we can. And that's where you get your education. But in the beginning, all you need to do is just go find a seller that wants to sell, find a buyer that wants to buy or rent, and you could get in the middle. And if you want to know how to do that, go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff. Watch the videos and you'll understand. Over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.